Sarah Staines. I pledged in the spring of 2000.
She went to my church.
I know. I grew up knowing Amy, actually. Yeah. Amy's sons were a little bit younger than I was. No, we weren't in the same Sunday school class, but anyway, I'm from Hershey. Grew up in Hershey. I pledged the spring of 2000 with the Naughty Nine. We were we lived up to our name. We were a very diverse group of a very diverse pledge class. There were 5 of us that were true freshmen and then 4 upperclassmen. We had honor students in our pledge class, collegiate athletes, you name it. We were very diverse, and we really fit what Zeta knew was at that time. We were always the most diverse sorority on campus. We didn't fit the mold. So I served as president in 2002, and that was the first year in many years that our chapter received the Crown Chapter Award. We had for many years been deficient on the national level, not meeting some standards, so we were very proud of that. The Zeta House was in several locations all across town. I feel like we were moving every 6 months. We were at we used to call it the Cave up here. We were at the Cave. We were on Bald Eagle. We were on Susquehanna Street, South Summit Street. There was one semester we were actually, our Zeta House was the apartment behind the KDR house. So that was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Rituals were held in houses, classrooms, and campuses. One of the most memorable things we did throughout the 2000s was we held our Big Little at the Seed Conference Center and spent the night there. So that was a lot of fun. Our sisterhoods included bowling. At Clinton Lanes, we would have game and movie nights. We went to corn mazes, and we always had a pumpkin carving contest. We got pretty wild and crazy with them. And we always did a Thanksgiving dinner. For community service, we walked dogs for the SPCA. We adopted grandparents at one of the nursing homes, wrote letters to armed forces. And some memorable fundraisers that were done when I was involved. We were reminiscing about this earlier today. One of the major fundraisers we did is we operated rides at Hershey Park. So, I know, yeah, I wonder why. So, I worked there for many years, and we needed to raise money, and so we signed up to operate rides at Hershey Park for a weekend. So I called my mom, and I said, hey, some of my sisters were going to come home, and we're going to volunteer at Hershey Park for the weekend. And she's like, okay, and the time got closer and closer, and she called me that week, and she's like, just so you know, we're having some plumbing problems with the shower. She's like, how many girls do you think you're bringing home with you? And I'm like, 17. But we had a great time. We operated rides during the day, all day Saturday, and then on Sunday we just rode rides and spent the day at Hershey Park, so that was pretty awesome. During this decade, Zeta Spikes was held in conjunction with an aerobic-a-thon. Pink Out shirts were started, and 3 sisters donated their hair to Relay for Life. They also started Big Man on Campus and Pink Out games. When I was a sister, we did an awful lot with KDR. Like, they were our brother fraternity. Obviously, we had our house in the same house as theirs. So many of their brothers were our chapter sweethearts, and we always did homecoming floats with them. One of my favorite memories from pledging is we had a project to do, and we were supposed to take pictures of our entire pledge class in front of every building on campus. And it was, we had a week to do it. Of course, we waited to the last minute, and for whatever reason, we decided to dress up. Think bunny ears, painted faces, mismatched clothes, and we drove around in one of our sisters' pickup trucks, blaring and screaming at the top of our lungs to build me up Buttercup. And we were having the time of our lives. However, it was very clear that we were Zeta new members, and our sisters started getting phone calls from people all over campus wondering what they were making their pledges do. Only they weren't making us do anything, we did it to ourselves. We were always Greek Week champions. We got t-shirts made that said, conceited slogans mean nothing unless you have the girls to back it up, Greek Week champions. So congratulations to the chapter. I saw you recently won Greek Week. That's awesome. like choked up to think about it. We were here in Lock Haven during 9/11, and I know pretty much mostly everyone in this room can remember where they were during 9/11, and we were here on campus. And one of our sisters, Carrie Witherall, she was from DC, and her father was actually at the Pentagon the day on 9/11. And I'll never forget that day. We had a Pan-Hellenic philanthropy rush that evening, and all day we just all gathered together, like literally our whole chapter, like I think it was at my house at West Main Street, and we just all gathered around and we're just waiting for the phone to ring to know that Carrie's dad was okay. And that day, nobody could make cell phone calls. You couldn't call home. Nobody could hear anything. So it was just that day, I think, truly brought to light for me what it meant to have sisters and be a part of Zeta. So, and then lastly, the other thing, and I don't know how many, this recipe is still around, but we have this secret chicken ball recipe. Yes, chicken ball recipe. So, the way it worked with us is there was one sister in the chapter who knew how to make it, and it was the oldest sister. We called her Grandma. And Grandma, yeah. And the recipe would get passed down from Grandma to Grandma. I never had the recipe. We were trying to think of it back at the table, and we have no idea what it is. But anyway, we had it at every prep. Anytime the Zetas got together, Megan Finn would always make the chicken ball. So.